Hello everyone, today we're working on a 2014 Ford Explorer. This is an all-wheel drive vehicle. What we'll be working on today is the PTU, or the power takeoff unit. Now, the power takeoff unit is a small gearbox that attaches to the transaxle, and it feeds power back to the rear differential. And it's a very expensive little gearbox. I think it's around $1,500 to get that replaced. On this particular one, the reason I'm doing this video, there's no drain plug on this gearbox. All there is a fill plug. And most of the procedures out there tell you to stick a tube inside and suck it out. Well, with all the gears and everything in there, it's hard to get all of that fluid out. So what I'm going to do, and this is something that if you're not comfortable doing it, don't do it. But what I'm going to do, and I've done it before on many vehicles, if they don't have a drain plug, I'll make one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make one out of a 1/4 inch by 20 threads per inch bolt, and I'm going to put a copper or a brass washer on it, and that will seal against the aluminum on the bottom. So what we'll do is we're going to find the best location to drill a hole, and the best thing there is, see if I can get a good shot of this. There's a couple of bolts here on the bottom. There's actually 3 of them, one over here, one here, and one here. And you can see where one of the main gears is here. This gear right here meshes with it right in here. So right next to where this middle bolt is, we're going to drill up from the bottom and through that aluminum housing. Then we're going to tap it for 1/4 inch 20 threads. And that'll give us a place to drain it. And because these things should be done fairly often because they run hot, they're up surrounded by a lot of heat around that engine area. There's a catalytic converter there. There's exhaust right under it. So there's a tremendous amount of heat around these. And that's another thing I wanted to mention with the heat. The Amsoil Severe Gear 140, 75 140 is what we'll be using in there. It holds just over half a quart at 1.1 pints. And with this Amsoil, it'll outperform those other synthetics out there as well. You have thermal runaway for terrain and temp and all that. This helps prevent that thermal runaway like no other. So it's well worth the extra cost for this synthetic to protect your gearbox. So I've got the drain, or I shouldn't say the drain plug, I got the fill plug out. This vehicle has about 90,000 miles on it. To my knowledge, this is still the original PTU, but we can see there's quite a bit of fuzz on it. No chunks or anything like that, but you can see that's all metal fuzz that's given off. And it's rather, see if I can get it all peeled out. And I know that fluid in there is going to be just nasty. But you can see what was on the magnet, and that's on the fill plug. So we'll clean that up good, but that's the reason we're changing this fluid. That heat is just, it bakes that gearbox. So we're going to get started with drilling that hole and show you where that's located at and the procedure for that. Okay, first thing we're going to do is they have a duct here that brings cold air and actually funnels it up to where that gearbox is at. It was their attempt to try to give that gearbox some life. There's 3 little wing nuts on here. Take that off. 1 in the back and there's 2 in the front. And we can set that aside. And that'll give us access right here to where we need to be. Slide that light over so you can see a little better. And where I'm going to drill that hole at is probably right in here, right in this general area. It'll be kind of right between those 2 gears. There's 1 gear right here on this shaft, and then there's 1 kind of right back here on the gearbox. And we might have to get a different angle on that when we go to drill. Some of the gearboxes have a drain plug on. It was kind of a hit and miss, and this particular one has no drain plug. So that's why we're going to create one. So we're going to get a number 8 drill, because that's what size we need for a 1/4 inch by 20 threads per inch bolt. And we're going to center punch it and we'll get started drilling it. We're going to come right up through between the exhaust and this mount. We'll hit it probably right in here. Okay, we're going to start drilling here, and you want to make it at a 90-degree angle as much as you can. So you got to kind of eyeball it from the different angles and get started with it. I've got a drain pan down here, so once we go through, it'll start draining into that. You don't want, when you go through, you don't want to bust that drill bit off in there. So you got to be kind of careful. Don't be pushing for all you're worth. It's just aluminum. There it is. Okay, so now you can see what that fluid looks like. It's really nasty. It's black nasty. Again, I'm not seeing any chunks, so I think we got some life left in this gearbox, but it is definitely past time to be changing that oil. So we're going to let that drain out. It's going to drain out slowly, and then when it's done draining out and down to a drip, then I'll start tapping it for the bolt. Okay, I've got a 1/4 by 20 tap, coarse thread. This Snap-on makes these sockets that'll accept a tap, and they got a square drive, a square tang. You know, the square tang will slide right into it. And got to get it seated in there. There it is. And I'm going to use a 1/4 inch drive ratchet on there, and we're going to go up in there as straight as we can. Okay, I'm going to see how much I've got. I'm going to get an O-ring pick and just go up in the hole to see how much room I've got for that tap. I don't want to go up and bust the tap off on a gear or something like that, so we'll do that next. Okay, I've got a short awl here, or actually a long awl, and we're going to go up in that hole just to see how much we've got until we start hitting a gear or anything up in there. And looks like about right there is what we got. So, see if I can keep my finger in the right spot. Okay, what we have is this right here, from this point to here. So we got plenty of room. We can actually almost bury that that tap all the way in without having any issues. Okay, just wanted to show you that. Make sure we aren't going to get up there and hit a gear, nick a gear with that tap. I'm using a brass washer on there. If you wanted to get a crush type brass or copper washer, you could certainly do that. It might seal just a little better, but it'll be a one-time use if you get a crush type one. Okay, I think at this point I'm through all the way. So I'm going to start backing it out, and then I'm going to flush out the housing with brake clean. I'm going to flush it until it all comes clean, until I get nice clear brake clean fluid to come out. We got plenty there for the threads on our bolt. So the next thing is going to be flushing that housing. Now, when I go to flush that housing, it's going to be really hard because the fill plug is clear up here. And it's hard to get at, so I'm going to use some hose like this right here. I'm going to put it on the end of my straw for that brake clean, and see if I can get it on there fairly snug. If I can, I'll put a zip tie on it. Then I'm going to come up by that catalytic converter there. I'm going to take it right into that fill plug, so it goes right into the housing. There it is right there. Okay. And I'm going to start spraying. Hopefully I don't get a face full. Okay. Okay, it's starting to come a little bit clear. Let's spray a little more in there and see what I can get. I might move that hose around a little bit up there too, but you get the idea. I'm going to spray until I don't see any of the black oil coming out anymore. I just want the clear brake clean coming out. It might take a can, it might take 2 cans, whatever it takes. But I'm going to rotate and move that hose that I have in the fill plug around so I can maybe get some more of that crap out of there. So we're going to do that, get that done, and I'll show you putting the bolt in. Okay, I'm going to take a blowgun up into the fill port, and I'm going to blow air in there, and that'll help clean out the rest of that brake clean. The remainder of it will go out the vent, so I'm not too worried about it. When it gets warm, it'll go out the vent, but we'll spray a bunch of it out of here. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. So now we'll clean it up good. Okay, this is the bolt I'm going to put in. I got a copper washer or a brass washer on it. And I'm also going to put a little bit of this, it's a synthetic resistant, fluid resistance called Loctite Ready Gasket. I use that for differential covers as well. It works great for differential covers. So I'm going to put a little bit of that around that washer just to aid in sealing it. I don't really want any seeps, and this will kind of ensure that that don't happen. Most all the sealing should be on that copper washer, and this stuff will squeeze out and kind of help seal those threads a little bit too. But make sure it's dry on there, which it is. See if I can get my hand up there and start it. If you're going to torque it, I would hit it with about probably 10 to 12 foot-pounds of torque is about what it'll handle. Then I'm going to wipe off that outside there a little bit. And there we go. Double check my torque here a little bit. Okay, it's in, it's tight, and next thing is to fill, and I'm going to figure out the best route to do that here. Okay, I'm hitting about 150 inch-pounds right here on this. It'll handle that just fine. Bolt length is 3/4 of an inch, and that's about how thick that metal is right there. Because before I did all this, I stuck a O-ring pickup in there to the edge of the metal, and I could feel it's about 3/4 of an inch thick. So that should be just about flush with the inside of that case, so we're good there. And this will give you a nice spot to drain it the next time you need to. Okay, coming up from the bottom of this PTU case, right here is the fill plug. So I'm going to snake a hose in what I've got here. Take a look, I've got some 3/8. It's a 3/8 fuel line. And it's a fairly cheap line you can buy. And then I cut the top of that tip off so we can get fluid out, and I push it on about as far as I get it, nice tight seal. And this is where the Easy Pack comes in nice, because it's just like a roll of toothpaste. You can just squeeze it right up from the bottom and push that oil out, and you can roll that thing right up. It doesn't take up as much room as a jug does, one of those little quart jugs. So we're going to get this snaked up in there, and then we're going to fill it up until it comes out of that fill port, and then we'll put the plug in and we'll be done. Okay, we're in. Now, I'm going to start squeezing it on in. Take about a half a quart or so is what it's going to take. There. Now I know I got enough in. We're back out here again. There, it's running out. Okay, that tells me I got enough. And I gotta catch what's coming out. Okay, and we're just gonna let it run there until it gets to pretty much even with the bottom of that fill plug there. Okay, and as you can see, that new fluid is almost clear, almost like water. I'm going to show you a comparison of that next to the stuff we took out, and that'll give you some idea why we're changing it. So we'll do that here next, and we're going to put that fill plug in and snug it up, and we'll be done underneath here. Okay, right down here is the brand new 75W140 Amsoil gear lube, and here's what we took out of the other one. So it gives you some idea why you need to change it as often as you do with that Amsoil, probably around every 50,000 miles. I'd see what the fluid looks like. But most of them recommend about 30,000, but that Amsoil will go a whole lot longer. Some of these, again, PTUs have a drain plug, some don't. This is the procedure for the ones that don't. So like I say, if you're not comfortable doing it, you'll have to get a sucker and suck out the fluid in there as best you can. But this has worked well for me. I've had some Corvettes that I've done. Couldn't get the cover off to drain it out, so I just simply drilled a hole in the bottom, put that 1/4-inch bolt in, gave us a way to drain it out. And some of the Ford differentials on the older Fords up front, they had the cross member right in front of the cover, so I couldn't get them off. So it's worked well for me over the years. And the main thing is you get the hole drilled, you know, true, so that you can seal up that with that copper or brass washer. So I want to thank you for watching my video.
Thank you for watching my video. Be sure to check out my other videos and subscribe to my channel at youtube.com/c/Donsoil. I'd like to introduce you to Amsoil synthetic lubricants. We have the most complete line of synthetic lubricants on the market that offer you greatly reduced wear, extended drain intervals, longer equipment life. You can check that out at my website, donsoil.com. I also have a website for looking up fluid capacities. It's fluidcapacity.com. You can go there and print off the capacity of your engine oil, cooling system, transmission, transfer case, differentials. Be sure to like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Don Synthetic Lubes. Thank you and have a great day.